Hello and welcome. My name is Eva Dunlap Lewis, and I'll be guiding you through your Communities Connect engagement platform training. Let's get started. As a reminder, when we jump in here, I am using Judson Park Connect on an Apple computer. Depending on the device that you're using, Judson Park Connect will look slightly different. So it looks the most different when you're using an iPhone or an iPad. But everyone else who's using the computer version, the web browser version, meaning you're getting it through Google Chrome or Safari, or using an Android device, then what you see up here on my screen, that will match what you see on your screen. However, if you're using the iPhone, iPad app via Cubigo, then what you see on your screen will look a little bit different from how it appears on my screen. Also, on the left-hand side, I have all these handy-dandy icons. You guys will not have these icons. They are my burden as an administrator. So don't worry about these. Natalie, Douglas, and I have to, but you don't. I highly suggest, if this is your first time watching this lesson, you simply keep your eyes up on my screen and watch what I'm doing. We'll take plenty of time to practice during our follow-up trainings, but those are not recorded into a training session. If you have watched this lesson before, please feel free to follow along with your device in hand as best you can. Today we're going to be talking about the IT support cube and the suggestions cube, two of my favorite cubes, personally. We'll start first with IT support, and then we'll come back to suggestions. Let's start with IT support and reviewing the main page of the IT support cube. The IT support cube is kind of a dark blue color, and it has a computer with a question mark on it. It looks just like this. The location of your cubes may be different if you're using the iPhone, iPad app. Your cubes go across the screen horizontally, and you might have to swipe in order to find the IT support cube. But if you're using the computer, Android, or browser version, then you'll notice that your cubes move vertically down the right side of the page. So we start by looking for that IT support cube, the blue cube with the computer and the question mark, a very fitting icon. When we find it, we can click it or tap it. And here we are, we're on the main page of IT support. This is what we see when we open the cube from the home page. I'd like to note, just for the sake of the video, that this is how the IT support cube looks as of today's date, the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody, 2022. As we know, after doing multiple trainings, our Cubigo and Judson Park Connect changes over time. It's meant to update us about ongoing and changes and new information available to residents at Judson Park. So if you're watching this video in the future and you say, Eva, what the heck, mine doesn't look like this, well, the information has likely changed over time, but we'll still have some of the same basic components. Does that make sense? I'll assume it does, and you're all vigorously nodding your heads. So this is what we see when we get to the main page of IT support. Right now it says Ahmed will be out until May 13th. Please continue to place tickets so he can assist you when he returns. By the time this video is released, this text will no longer be there because it won't be released before May 13th. You will see this information on how to place an IT request. So the words IT ticket, IT request, or work order are all considered synonymous. They mean the same thing. You're asking for help. This information will always be here. For more information about what services IT provides, take a look at the documents below. And don't forget to check your community calendar for our tech ed classes and IT workshops. If you're viewing this on an iPhone or an iPad, then your buttons for place request and your requests actually appear above this text. It's just a slight difference in the display. We're going to come back to these buttons, place request and your requests, and instead take a few moments here to explore what else is found on the IT support cube. Again, the attachments and extra information found on this cube will change over time. We have 4 options here, 4 categories of clickable text. Tech Ed IT technology classes, what IT can and cannot do, looking to buy a new iPhone, and tech terms. That's what we see as of today's date, May 5th, 2022. Each of these pieces of text are clickable. When we click them, they will reveal more information. The way that the information displays itself is different depending on the device that you're using. On my version and computer, Android, and browser versions, when we click the text, more information is revealed below it, right here. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, when you click or tap the Tech Ed IT technology classes, it instead takes you to a whole new page where you're viewing this information independently. To get back to the main page of IT support, you would have to hit the back arrow in the top left corner. But again, for computer users, we can just click the text and it appears right below it. It drops down. So when I click Tech Ed IT technology classes, I see join us for our monthly Tech Ed classes, some information here about Tech Ed, and then what's this? Does anyone remember? This is an attachment. Attachments are meant to be viewed separately. They can be forms or flyers, handouts, letters, memos, but they're meant to be viewed separately. On my version, the attachment appears in bold. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, the attachment appears in blue text. In either case, to view the attachment, we can click it or tap it. And then it takes us into the attachment where we can view that relative information. Here we might remember we can zoom in to make it larger. Zooming in on the iPhone or the iPad is 2 fingers on the screen, also on a tablet or a trackpad. 2 fingers together on the screen, pulling them apart, zooms you in. Two fingers apart and pulling them together zooms you out. On the computer and Android and browser version, I also have these icons up here at the top, the minus and the plus. And the minus would make it smaller. Hitting the plus would zoom me in and make it larger. To get out of this attachment on the iPhone or the iPad, we would hit the word done in the top left corner. And after hitting done, you would want to hit the back arrow in the top left corner to get you back to the main page of IT support. On versions like mine, we can just hit the back arrow in the top left, pictured here, and we automatically go straight back to the main page of IT support. So iPhone and iPad users, you guys have an extra step. You always have to go back twice to get back to the main page of IT support when viewing an attachment. We can repeat this process for all the other information found here. I won't do that for everything, but I do want to cover with you what IT can and cannot do. So if we click or tap what IT can and cannot do, iPhone and iPad users, you'll be taken to a whole new page where you can see what to know, want to know what we do. Please look at the attached document and you'll have some blue text. That's the attachment. You would click that attachment to see what IT can and can't do. For computer users, we just have to click what IT can and cannot do, and it reveals the extra information on this same page, and it shows us the attachment in bold text. Now we can click that bold text just like we did before and be taken to the attachment. So I want to go through this with you. I won't go through what they can do, but I will spend some time on what they can't do. And if you ever don't know, can IT help me with this? There's no shame in placing a request and asking for help anyway. They'll let you know if they can't actually do it. So what kinds of services aren't covered by Human Good IT? Unfortunately, human good IT will not be able to help with work that includes access to private information, including passwords, medical, or financial data. It says consider asking friends or family members for assistance with passwords or other sensitive data. Work that risks resident data, including file recovery and virus remediation. I can give recommendations on what we use for virus protection. If a computer is not accessible due to a broken hard drive or failed item in the computer, I can assist with Windows reinstallation. Any operating system that the tech doesn't know. I am unfamiliar with Linux-based systems. If you use a Linux system, please teach me how to use it. I would love to learn that OS. Most computers that I would expect you guys have are not Linux-based. They're probably a Microsoft operating system for Windows, or they're Apple. Physical home theater or audiovisual installation setup and assistance. Items like these are firstly taken care of by the maintenance staff. If facilities are unable to complete the work order, I can assist with this. So for physical home theater or AV installation setup and assistance, that's a maintenance request. TV cable hardware installation setup and assistance, including remote controls. Facilities can assist with TV cable troubleshooting. The work will be escalated to me if maintenance has done everything that they can to support. Private non-human good provided phone account support. Phone account support requires sensitive information, normally needing account access through account number or the last four of someone's social security number. That's kind of a liability issue for the IT techs to help with. Vendor relation assistance. Due to the volume of work I receive, I don't have the ability to work with vendors on a regular basis. So if you were having an issue with a vendor, like, who's the main cable provider out there, Douglas?
Comcast.
Comcast. So if you guys had a Comcast problem and you were trying to get a hold of Comcast about it, your IT admin unfortunately would not be able to work as an intermediary on your behalf. That's kind of what the vendor relation assistance is. So those are the things that they cannot help with, and that makes sense. Maybe in the future you might have more information on who to call. There might be someone that is recommended for services that IT can't help with, another vendor outside of your community that they're often referred to. To get out of this attachment, iPhone and iPad users, you'll hit the word done in the top left. And then you'll hit the back arrow in the top left. The rest of us will hit the back arrow in the top left. But before I do, are there any questions or comments about what IT cannot help with?
Question, Ava.
Yes.
Since Judson has a contract with Comcast, in the past, IT has been helpful straightening out or giving information about what that does or does not do. Is that no longer true?
I think it is true. So facilities can assist with TV cable troubleshooting. The work will be escalated to me if maintenance has done everything that they can. So usually you call maintenance, and then if they can't handle it, then you can call IT. Basic troubleshooting, yes, they can help with. But if there's like a problem with your account that you need to contact Comcast about, then I don't think that they can act as on behalf of you as an intermediary and help you call Comcast and talk to them about it. Natalie, do you have anything to comment on that?
I would concur what you said, Eva, that our first line of defense with questions pertaining to the services that Judson Park organizes for Comcast would go through the facilities team.
Great. They can still help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to hit the back arrow to get out of this. And then I'm going to let you guys explore those other options, looking to buy a new iPhone and tech terms on your own. Highly recommend you look at the commonly used tech terms because they were created by a very special lady. Oh, look at that. It's me. This is something that my assistant and I put together. These will help you understand technology, and these courses, they'll really help with the tech ed trainings. So these aren't just copied and pasted from Google. We spent hours putting these together. I recommend that you check them out. It's 8 pages of commonly used tech terms. And every time I look at it, I think of a couple more that should be on there. Yes.
This is Mary Alice Beezer. Does IT help with printer problems?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
I'm actually going to be using that, Mary Alice, in my example when I place a request. We go to the IT support cube if we're looking for more information about tech ed, what IT can and can't do, if we're looking to buy a new phone or tech terms. More information will be added here in the future. We also go to the IT support cube to place a request for IT support or view our previously placed requests. Natalie, I would recommend, and that might be my suggestion when I place a suggestion later, that Ahmed include some information about ancillary charges for IT on here.
Okay, I'll make that recommendation to him and Lillian.
Okay, great. Because sometimes that's, if there's ever information that you feel like should be available here, please feel free to let Ahmed know, or Natalie or Douglas. You can put in a suggestion about it once you know how to do suggestions. But anything that's handy for residents to know about IT support should be on this cube. So we can find that information, the more information at the bottom of the cube. At the top of the cube is where we can place a request or view your past requests. Let's start with placing a request for IT support. We hit place request. And we're taken to this page. It's a form that we are required to fill out. I see the word details, location, my apartment. You might see the words my apartment on your screen, but you might also instead see your unit number. Now, unlike maintenance or housekeeping, well, really just maintenance, you can not place a request outside of your apartment for IT support. So IT support only comes to your apartment. I couldn't request IT support to come to Natalie's office, for instance. The first option, the first thing we have to do on this form is indicate whether or not we're okay with IT coming in without our being there. And if we're okay with that, we would check off this box. It's a circle when you're viewing it on an iPhone or an iPad. You would just tap the circle. More often than not, though, with IT, we won't check this off because usually we have to be there to give them extra information, or it's something that we want to learn or watch them do. So for the most part, we're going to leave it blank. Next on the form, we have type of issue. Choose from list. On iPhones and iPads, we would tap where it says choose. Here I would hit choose from list. So the options for type of issue are network internet issue, desktop laptop issue, mobile device issue, or other. A few minutes ago, Mary Alice asked, can IT help with printers? And I said yes. Just because we may not see printers on this list doesn't mean we can't ask for it. We could use other if it was a printer, if it was a television, a streaming device like a Roku or an Apple TV. Anything that doesn't fall into the network internet issue, desktop laptop issue, mobile device issue. Or even if we just don't know, we could choose other. For this example, I'm going to say other. Now here we have the comment section. In my opinion, this is the most important comment section out of all of your Judson Park Connect. When we're placing a request for support and maintenance, that's pretty straightforward, right? Like we might have a light bulb out in our living room, and there's not a lot of extra information that we would need to give that maintenance person. But when it comes to IT support, they're going to go through a process of troubleshooting, which is not always linear. They need a lot of information in order to be prepared for this service. And in the past, we might just put in something like, my printer isn't working, and then request it. But because I'm teaching this course and because I'm an IT consultant, I like to tell you how to help your IT administrator. You can absolutely start with, my printer isn't working. Tell them the problem. My printer isn't working. But then you might want to give them information about the devices that you have. The printer is an HP 3730, and I'm just making that number up. But you can read the model of the printer on the printer and write it in. And then tell them a little bit about it. It is 2 years old. Then you can tell them about what you did to fix it, if you've tried anything. Because as I said, with troubleshooting, they're going to try everything in order to fix this. And you can help them save time if you let them know what you already did to fix it. I could say, I replaced the ink, I replaced the paper, I turned it off and on. I also turned the computer off and on. To no avail. Right? So we want to tell them the problem, what device we have, maybe a little information about the device, and what we did to fix it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else Natalie or Douglas or anybody in the class can think that maybe I would want to add here? Okay. I am just going to add for training purposes only. Please disregard and mark as completed. Thank you. Because I don't actually live at Judson Park. If you're following along and you're making a fake request with me, something that's not real, you don't actually need help with, then please hit cancel. Please don't actually send this request. Cancel for iPhone and iPad users is typically found in the top right. Cancel for computer users and browser and Android users like me is found at the bottom. After hitting cancel, you're likely taken back to the main page of IT support where you can hit home to get back to the home page. For me, I'm going to go ahead and send this request in. iPhone and iPad users, instead of the word request, you'll see submit. Now, after I submit or place my request, I'm taken back to the home page of Judson Park Connect. And on my schedule, there's something new. Does anybody see it?
The request.
That's right. If you're using a computer, then your schedule is at the very top of the page. But if you're using an iPad or iPhone, then you have to scroll underneath the cubes, and that's where you see your schedule, underneath the cubes. The schedule will have information about birthdays today, any activities that you've signed up for or marked yourself as interested that occur today, transportation requests happening today, table reservations for today, and then any services that you've requested, right? They'll show up here. We remember that from housekeeping and maintenance. I see my little IT support cube icon, and then I see other requested. The requested is the current status. Now, what does that mean if it says requested next to it? Does anyone know what that status means?
I think it means that they've not accessed and looked at it yet.
Right, they haven't seen it. Once they see it, they'll mark it as in progress and they'll usually give you a call or show up. And the in progress shows up in yellow. And then from there, it's marked as done in a gray color. You'll receive notifications about the change of status to any request. Notifications appear under the Notifications tab in your menu. iPhone and iPad users, your menu and where you find notifications is at the bottom of your screen. For the rest of us, notifications is found at the top of the screen. So let's see if I have something in here that might be about IT support. Here's one from another community. Dear Eva, your IT support request other has been canceled. Please contact staff for additional information. Mine are canceled because I don't live at any of these communities and I don't actually have these problems. I asked them to cancel them. But you'll see more information about your requests under notifications. Please note that if you have called in a request for IT support, there is no need to also place a request online. You want to do one or the other, either call in or place the request online. And if it's something emergent, not a lot of those cases happen for IT like they would for maintenance. But if it's something really important that you need right away, then it might be beneficial to call instead of placing a request.
When you say call in, that means you're calling in to the front desk, not leaving a message on IT's phone.
Thank you, Douglas. We can see information about our previously placed requests by going back into that IT support cube from the home page, the blue cube with the question mark. And then scrolling down, instead of hitting place request, your requests. We're then taken to a page of all the requests that we have placed through Judson Park Connect. iPhone and iPad users, please be aware that you likely have an active filter on this page, only allowing you to see your requests that occurred 1 month in the past. So if you're trying to see something further in the future, you'll have to hit the filter in the top right corner and change the start date to whatever the request date that you're looking for is. We can see more information about the request by clicking it or tapping it. And this should look pretty familiar. This is the request that I just placed. The status is still requested, meaning that they haven't seen it, but that makes sense because Ahmed is actually out of town until the 13th of May, 2022. To leave this page, are there any questions on this before I move on?
Yes. What is this work hub thing?
Works Hub, synchronization is active.
What does that mean?
This shows up on the IT support cube, on the maintenance cube, and on housekeeping. Works Hub is the software platform that those team members use to manage your work orders, your requests. So instead of using Works Hub, you're using Cubigo to place a request. And that just means Works Hub synchronization is active, that when you, a resident, place a request on Cubigo and Judson Park Connect, it is sent to their Works Hub platform. It's sent to their system so that they can organize and manage those requests. Does that make sense?
Maybe.
Maybe. It just means that they're getting it. They're using a different system. And so it means that those two systems, Works Hub and Cubigo, are talking to one another.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about it. It's very unlikely that you'll ever see that synchronization is not active. To get out of this page, iPhone and iPad users, I believe you hit done, and then you can hit home. I can hit the back arrow in the top left. I can hit it again to get back to the main page of IT support, where now I can hit home in the menu. Yes, computer users, you could have hit home from the menu a long time ago, but I like to show you guys the full path that we take to get somewhere, to solidify that path in your minds. Okay, we're back at the home page of Judson Park Connect. The suggestions cube is an orange cube with a white star. When you find the suggestions cube, go ahead and click it or tap it. The suggestions cube says, we have provided the suggestions cube to allow residents to give lifestyle programming suggestions and offer feedback on our dining program and the exterior appearance of the community. You are also welcome to contact Natalie, Director of Hospitality, at her phone number, or Douglas Chad, Life Enrichment Coordinator, at his phone number, for lifestyle programming. For feedback on dining, please contact Jessie Duncan, Director of Dining Services, at her phone number. For suggestions on the exterior, please contact Tim McCade, Director of Buildings and Grounds, at his phone number. Please note that the suggestions cube is not meant to be used as the compliance hotline, which is accessed by calling 888-740-4636. Natalie, can you offer any clarity on what the compliance hotline is?
I'll do my best. So the compliance hotline is something that is organized by Human Good. So if there are issues that team members or residents might have that may, for whatever reason, they may feel uncomfortable with sharing with someone here in the community, there is another option. So they can reach out to someone who works at the corporate office to share their feedback.
Thank you, Natalie. On this page, we can either make a suggestion or view your previously made suggestions. If we hit your suggestions, we're probably going to see something like this. You have no previous suggestions if you haven't made one before. In which case we would hit the back arrow in the top left to return to the main page of suggestions and talk about making a suggestion. To make a suggestion, we hit Make Suggestion. And we're sent to a form that looks a lot like the form in IT, but it's a little bit shorter. All of this information at the top of the page is pulled from the page before it, so that's the information I read through just a moment ago. We have two things to do here. We would choose the type of suggestion, and then we would fill in some comments. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you'll start by hitting the word choose instead of choose from list. And after doing that, we're given these options: team member appreciation, lifestyle program suggestion, dining feedback, building and grounds feedback, and general. Team member appreciation, if we choose this item, then the prompt above the text box is which team member do you want to celebrate and why? And we could detail that in here. I can say Natalie and Douglas because they are so great at managing Judson Park Connect. I'm going to go ahead and just send this one so that Natalie can comment on it. After I submit it, where am I taken back to?
Homepage.
That's right. And what's new here? Ooh, Natalie, you are quick. So now I see the suggestion that I made. And it's not requested, it's confirmed, meaning that she's seen it. I'm going to go back into the suggestions cube and talk about those other types of suggestions. So I'm going back into suggestions and hitting make suggestion. Choose or choose from list. If I choose, instead of team member appreciation, I choose lifestyle program suggestion, the prompt changes. Thoughts or feedback on the lifestyle and activities. So I'm trying to point out here that depending on what you choose from this list, the prompt that you are given to fill in this text box is different. For dining feedback, it's thoughts or feedback on your meal. Please include date, time, location, meal, so that we can respond as well as possible. For building and grounds, it's what do you want to share with the team? For general, what do you want to share with the team? So if it doesn't fit into any of these categories, team member appreciation, lifestyle program suggestion, dining feedback, building and grounds feedback, or general, well, if it doesn't fit into any of these top 4, then you can just choose general. I'm going to put one in here and say on IT support cube, perhaps include attachment of ancillary charges for IT service. If you're following along and creating a fake suggestion, please hit cancel, which is in the top right for iPhone and iPad users, or at the bottom next to submit for everybody else. From there, you'll be taken back to the main page of suggestions where you can hit home. I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And it takes me back to the home page where I have another suggestion here. And man, Natalie is quick. I can see I'll receive notifications when the status of a request has changed. So I already see that, dear Eva, your suggestion request has been confirmed, meaning they've seen it. And even suggestion staff posted a comment on your request. So I've been saying over and over again, I love suggestions. And this is why. Because you can actually communicate with team members at Judson Park about your suggestions. I can go back into my suggestions cube, and instead of hitting make suggestion, I can see my previously placed suggestions under your suggestions. We hit this earlier and nothing showed up. But now if I hit it, then I'll see my 2 suggestions that I made in the last 10 minutes or so. Both of them have been confirmed. They've been seen because Natalie is quick draw McGraw over there. Please don't expect that kind of turnaround always because she's in this meeting listening. But typically, maybe Natalie, you can shed some light on this. Who gets to see the suggestions that we make?
So I think I'm usually the person who is checking that. I have a reminder on my calendar. So I don't I do get notification. I don't get to look at them immediately usually unless I happen to be on my computer. But I do have a reminder to check at least once a week and try to respond back. I know that Jonathan can also see that information. And then what we have been doing is sharing comments and feedback with other members of the leadership team or others who might need to know this information.
Great. Thank you for that feedback. Excellent.
How do you get rid of the canceled ones?
On here, if I want to see information about a previously placed request for suggestions, because before I talk about canceling anything, I want to show you that we can see the comments. So I'm going to do the older one first, the one I did at 11:16, the team member appreciation. I can click it. And right here on my page, I see Natalie's comment. Thanks, Eva. We appreciate you so much. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Natalie. Just a love fest over here. If you're using an iPhone or an iPad, when you look at your suggestion, you'll have an option kind of towards the bottom left down here that says show comments. And that's how you would see any comments that a team member made about your suggestions. But on my screen and that of other browser, computer, or Android users, we just get to see the comment right away. To get to this screen, you have to have made a suggestion. So you have to go into the suggestions cube. And if you have not made a suggestion before, then when you click your suggestions, you won't see anything. But once you're in suggestions, you can hit your suggestions. And as long as you've made previously placed suggestions, then you'll see them. From there, you can select them and look at the comments or hit show comments to read what team members have said. So unless you've placed a suggestion, you won't be able to see any comments. Canceling a request for suggestions is possible. I'm using an administrator account here, team. So on my screen, I don't see the option to cancel. But if you're following along on your device, you should have the option to cancel this suggestion. So Heinz, when you're looking at a suggestion that you've made in the past, which to get there, you would go to the suggestions cube and click on your suggestions. Choose one of the suggestions that you want to cancel, and you should see an option that says cancel this suggestion. To get out of this screen, if you're using an iPhone or an iPad, you'll hit the word done in the top right corner. You can hit the back arrow in the top left corner, and you'll be back to the main page of suggestions. Then you can hit home in the menu at the bottom. For computer, Android, and browser users like me, we can hit the back arrow in the top left, hit the word suggestions in the top left, and then hit home in the menu. And that takes us back to the home page of Judson Park Connect. Are there any questions about suggestions before I close out the video training?
Yes.
What's your question?
What would be the most expedient way to contact Douglas for including news items or information that you want posted on Cubicle?
The best way to contact me would not be through suggestions because I don't see your suggestions. Natalie has to see them first and then filter them to me. So the best way to get a hold of me would be email or a phone call or a text.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to close it out here, but I'll stay on the line for a couple minutes to answer any other questions. Thank you so much for watching. Please rewatch if you need to, and feel free to follow along. I'll see you next time.